Is Manchester City truly unstoppable? Well, if you look at the history books today, the answer is a resounding yes. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Man City Sentinel, your home for everything blue. Make sure you hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel because we are diving straight into a week that has changed everything for our season. We don't do fluff here, just the hard facts and the deep analysis you need. Stay with me until the very end, because what Pep Guardiola just revealed about our upcoming schedule and the future of two club legends will leave you speechless. We have to start with the magic that happened just hours ago. Manchester City has done it again. For the fourth consecutive time, we are heading to the FA Cup final. This isn't just another win, it's a historic record that proves the era of dominance under Pep Guardiola is far from over. The atmosphere at the stadium during that semi-final against Southampton was electric, but let's be honest, it wasn't easy. That 2-1 victory was a tactical chess match that tested our nerves until the very final whistle. When Jeremy Doku found the back of the net in those closing minutes, it wasn't just a goal, it was a statement. Doku has been evolving under Pep's guidance, and seeing him take that responsibility in a high-stakes game shows why he is becoming one of the most dangerous wingers in world football. After the match, Doku was caught saying, "It's unbelievable." The goal now is to win the trophy. And you can see that hunger in his eyes. He isn't just happy to be there, he wants to lift that silverware at Wembley on May 16th against Chelsea. Pep Guardiola's reaction on the touchline said it all. A simple "we did it again" to his coaching staff, but behind that calm exterior is a man who knows he is building a legacy that might never be matched. Reaching 4 finals in a row in the oldest cup competition in the world is a testament to the squad's depth and mental strength. Remember, we just came off a tough win against Burnley in the Premier League, where we had to fight for every inch to keep that 1-0 lead and stay in second place. To transition from that intensity into a knockout semi-final and still produce a result is exactly what defines this club. But let's look at the immediate impact of this victory. We are now on the verge of another domestic treble. We have the Premier League title race heating up, the Carabao Cup in the bag, and now this final against Chelsea. The double-header of chasing Arsenal in the league while preparing for a major final is going to require every single player in this roster to be at their absolute peak. Donnarumma was vital in that semi-final, making 2 world-class saves that kept us in the game when Southampton tried to mount a comeback. It's those moments, those fine margins, where having a world-class keeper pays off. The narrative around the club right now is one of supreme confidence, but as we know with Pep, he never lets the players get too comfortable. The focus has already shifted. While the fans are celebrating the Wembley trip, the technical staff is looking at the medical reports of players like Rodri and Phil Foden, who have been putting in incredible shifts. This FA Cup record is the foundation for what could be the most successful end to a season in our history. But as we celebrate, a massive problem is brewing behind the scenes regarding our next fixtures. Now, while we're all buzzing about another trip to Wembley, there's a massive storm brewing in the Premier League offices that could decide our season. Success always comes with a price, and for Manchester City, that price is a scheduling nightmare that Pep Guardiola is currently trying to navigate. Because we've secured that May 16th date for the FA Cup final against Chelsea, our original league schedule has been thrown into complete chaos. This isn't just about moving one game, it's about a domino effect that could leave our players exhausted right when we need them most to overtake Arsenal. The biggest headache right now involves the away trip to Bournemouth. Originally, that game was set for May 17th, which is obviously impossible since we'll be fighting for a trophy at Wembley just 24 hours earlier. The club is currently in high-stakes negotiations with the Premier League to find a slot that doesn't kill our momentum. But it's not just Bournemouth. The home clash against Crystal Palace also needs a new home on the calendar. If the league gets this wrong, we could be looking at 3 massive games in just 7 days. For a squad that has already played a record number of matches this season, that is a terrifying prospect. Pep has been very vocal about this, even if he's trying to keep his cool for the cameras. He knows that the spacing between these games is the difference between a title and a second-place finish. We are currently sitting in second, breathing down the necks of the leaders, and we cannot afford a single slip-up. Every hour of recovery counts. When you have players like Pep Guardiola and Ruben Dias putting their bodies on the line every 3 days, the lack of a proper gap between the FA Cup final and these rescheduled league matches could be catastrophic. The club is pushing for a midweek slot that allows at least 72 hours of breathing room, but with the broadcast demands and other team schedules, it's a total logjam. Before we go any further into how this scheduling war impacts our title chances, I want to take a quick second to thank you for the incredible support. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the City news, please make sure you've liked the video and subscribed to Man City Sentinel. We are growing fast, and it's all thanks to the best fans in the world. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update on our hunt for the treble. Back to the tactical side of this chaos. Why does this rescheduling matter so much? Look at our rivals. Arsenal doesn't have these same distractions right now. They can prepare for their weekend games with a full week of training. Meanwhile, Pep is having to plan 3 different versions of his starting 11, depending on when these games actually happen. We've seen this before, where the success tax starts to weigh heavy on the legs. If we have to play Bournemouth on a Tuesday after a grueling final on Saturday, the risk of muscle injuries for key men like Rodri or Phil Foden skyrockets. There's also the psychological element. Keeping the focus on the Premier League while the glamour of a final is looming is one thing, but dealing with the uncertainty of not knowing exactly when you'll be playing your next 3 points is another. The talk around the training ground is that the club is doing everything possible to protect the players. They are even looking into specialised travel arrangements for the Bournemouth trip to ensure maximum recovery time. But let's be real, the Premier League isn't always helpful when it comes to the top team's schedules. Pep has hinted that the calendar is terrible, and he's right. We are victims of our own excellence. The negotiation for the Crystal Palace game is equally tricky. Playing at the ETIHAD is our fortress, and we need that home crowd at full energy. A random Wednesday night slot might feel different than a Saturday afternoon, but the mission remains the same: win everything. The strategy here is clear. Pep wants the league to recognise that representing English football in multiple finals deserves some level of common sense scheduling. We aren't asking for favours, just for the basic safety and performance standards of the players to be respected. As we wait for the official confirmation on these dates, the tension is rising. If we get a favourable reshuffle, we are the favourites. If we get squeezed, we'll have to see the true depth of this 2026 squad. And that leads us directly into how Pep is managing the current energy levels of the group, which involves a decision that surprised a lot of people this week. Just when everyone thought Manchester City would be hitting the training ground harder than ever after that Southampton victory, Pep Guardiola did something that caught the entire football world off guard. He didn't call for a double session. He didn't lock the players in a video room to analyse mistakes. Instead, he gave the entire squad 3 full days of total freedom. We are talking about a complete shutdown. No training, no tactical meetings, just pure rest. In the middle of the most intense title race in years, this is a move that only a manager with Pep's level of confidence and experience would dare to make. The reason behind this is simple but crucial: burnout. We are currently facing a brutal run of 6 games in just 21 days. If you look at the minutes played by guys like Rodri, Erling Haaland and Manuel Akanji, the numbers are staggering. Pep is looking at the long game. He knows that a tired mind leads to tired legs, and tired legs lead to mistakes that cost titles. By giving the players this mental reset, he is betting on the fact that they will return hungrier and sharper for the final push. Guardiola was very clear about his philosophy when he spoke to the media. He said, and I quote, "They can do whatever they want. They can stay at home with their families, they can travel, they can just forget about football for a bit. I need the whole squad mentally fresh because the calendar ahead is just terrible." That's the reality of modern football at this level. It's not just about how much you can run, it's about how well you can recover. This isn't just a day off, It's a strategic medical intervention to ensure we don't see any more muscle injuries during this crucial period. Think about the pressure these players are under. Every single pass, every tackle, and every goal is scrutinised by millions. Staying in that high-performance zone for 10 months straight is exhausting. Players like Phil Foden and Bernardo Silva have been the engine room of this team, and even engines need to cool down. By allowing them to disconnect, Pep is treating them like human beings, not just machines. And history shows us that when City players feel trusted and refreshed, they usually go on those legendary 10-game winning streaks that leave the rest of the league in the dust. But don't think for a second that this means the intensity has dropped. Far from it. This rest is specifically designed so that when they face Everton in the next game, they can play at 110%. Everton is never an easy place to go, especially with their fans fighting for every point, and we need to be physically dominant from the first minute. We've seen in the past how a refreshed City side can dismantle opponents with speed and precision. This 3-day break is the calm before the storm. I want to pause here for a second, because your engagement is what keeps this channel going. If you think Pep made the right call by giving the boys some time off, let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, please hit that like button and subscribe. We are covering every single move of this title race, and you don't want to miss what we have coming up next. Your support helps us bring you these deep dives every single day. Looking at the medical side of things, our performance staff is among the best in the world. They are tracking every heartbeat and every sprint. When Pep says he needs the whole squad, he means it. We have seen some rotation lately, with Stefan Ortega getting some minutes and Matheus Nunes showing his value in the middle. But for the big games, the heavy hitters like Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne, who is still such a massive influence even in 2026, need to be at their absolute peak. This break is especially vital for Erling. The physical toll of being marked by 2 or 3 defenders every game is massive. A few days of rest means he comes back even more explosive. The narrative from our rivals, especially the Arsenal camp, might be that we are taking things too easy, but that would be a huge mistake on their part. This is calculated. This is tactical. Pep isn't just a coach, he's a master of peak performance. He knows exactly when to push and when to pull back. The atmosphere at the training ground when they return will be one of absolute focus. They've had their time to breathe, and now it's time to hunt. As we look at the recovery of players like Nathan Ake and Josko Gvardiol, this gap also allows the small knocks and bruises to heal without the stress of daily training. It's about arriving at the Everton clash with zero excuses. We are in second place, but we have the momentum of that FA Cup final win behind us. The belief in the locker room is that if we manage our energy correctly, the Premier League trophy will be staying in Manchester. But even as we focus on the current squad, there are massive whispers about what happens next summer. Some of our biggest icons might be nearing the end of their journey at the Etihad, and the club is already moving to secure the next generation. While we are all focused on the silverware right now, something massive is happening in the corridors of the Etihad. We have to talk about the future, because in football, standing still is the same as moving backward. Reports are intensifying that this summer could see a significant reshuffle in the Manchester City midfield and defence. We are talking about potential exits for 2 of the most iconic figures of the Pep Guardiola era, Bernardo Silva and John Stones. It's hard to imagine this team without them, but the signals from top sources like Sky Sports and the Manchester Evening News are getting louder every day. Let's start with Bernardo Silva. The man is a magician, a tireless worker who has given his heart to this club. But every summer, there's that nagging question: will he stay or will he go? This time it feels different. We are seeing heavy interest from Juventus, Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, and even a massive push from Al Hilal. Bernardo has achieved everything here. He's a multi-time Premier League champion, a Champions League winner, and now he's helping us chase another treble. At 29, heading into 30, he might feel this is his last chance for a new challenge in a different league. Pep Guardiola has always said he only wants players who are 100% happy to be here, but he also deeply values Bernardo's tactical intelligence. Recently, Pep mentioned that he needs the whole squad to finish this season strong, which shows he isn't letting anyone lose focus. However, the club's recruitment team is already planning for a scenario where Bernardo says his final goodbye. Losing him would be a massive blow to our ball retention and high-pressing system, but City is a club that always has a plan B. We've seen it with the arrival of players like Ryan Cherki and Savinho, who represent that next wave of creative talent. Then we have the situation with John Stones. Our Barnsley Beckenbauer has been a revelation, especially with that hybrid role moving into midfield. But injuries have been a recurring theme, and with the emergence of Josko Gvardiol and the presence of Ruben Dias and Nathan Ake, competition for places is at an all-time high. There are strong whispers that Stones could be seeking a move where he is the undisputed leader of the defence every single week. If a significant offer comes in, the club might decide it's the right time to move on and reinvest in younger legs. We've seen the recruitment of Vitor Rice and Abdelkader Kasanov lately, showing that the reshuffle isn't just a rumour, it's already happening in the background. I know this is tough to hear for many of you. These guys are legends. But before we get into who might be coming in to replace that level of quality, I want to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is exactly why Man City Sentinel exists, to give you the real story, the one that goes beyond just the match day. We are keeping a very close eye on these transfer developments, and you'll be the first to know when things get official. Hit that like button if you want to see these legends stay for one more year. The logic behind these potential moves is clear. Manchester City never wants to have an old squad. We saw what happened to other dynasties when they held on to players for too long. Pep and the board want to ensure that the transition to the next phase of the club's history is seamless. Whether it's under Pep for a few more years or preparing for his eventual successor, the squad needs to stay hungry and physically elite. Think about the impact. If Bernardo leaves, we lose that unique ability to kill games by simply keeping the ball under extreme pressure. If Stones leaves, we lose a tactical flex player who redefined what a modern defender can do. But look at our current roster. We have Matheus Nunes and Tijani Reinders, who are already integrating into that midfield flow. We have the youth and energy of Nico O'Reilly and the technical brilliance of Sver Nipan. The foundation is there. The transition won't be easy, but it is necessary. Every great team has to evolve. We saw it when players like Aguero and David Silva left. Everyone thought it was the end, but we only got stronger. This reshuffle is about maintaining that standard of excellence. The club is looking for players who don't just fill a position, but who bring a new dimension to the way we play. And there is one name in particular that has risen to the top of the list. A young star from Nottingham Forest who seems perfectly suited for the blue shirt. In the next part, we're going to break down exactly who this £65 million target is and why Pep Guardiola thinks he is the missing piece for our future midfield. As we look at the potential departures of club legends, the question on every City fan's mind is, who comes in to carry the torch? The scouts at the Etihad haven't been idle, and one name has shot to the top of the list: Elliot Anderson. Currently shining at Nottingham Forest, the 23-year-old midfielder has become the talk of the Premier League, and Manchester City is reportedly leading the race for his signature with a valuation of around £65 million. This isn't just a random signing, it is a calculated move that fits the Pep Guardiola mould perfectly. What makes Anderson so attractive to a club like City? First, his versatility. Much like Phil Foden or Bernardo Silva, Anderson can operate as a traditional number 8, a creative 10, or even drift wide when the system requires it. His ability to navigate tight spaces and his composure under pressure are exactly what City needs to maintain that high possession game. In 2026, the game has become even more physical and fast-paced, and Anderson has the engine to track back while possessing the technical grace to unlock a stubborn defence. Pep has always admired players who can feel the game, and those who have watched Anderson at Forest know he has that rare footballing IQ. He doesn't just play the pass, he understands the rhythm of the match. For a team that faces low blocks nearly every week, having a player who can provide that unexpected spark is vital. If Bernardo Silva does decide to move on to a new adventure in Europe or the Middle East, Anderson is seen as a player who can step into that vacuum and grow into a world-class talent under Pep's tutelage. But it's not just about his individual skill. Bringing in a player like Anderson represents the succession plan that has kept Manchester City at the top for a decade. We are seeing a gradual evolution of the squad, with young stars like Savinho and Ryan Cherki already showing their quality. Adding a Premier League proven talent like Anderson ensures that the bridge between the veteran leaders and the new generation is solid. The club is proactive, not reactive. We don't wait for a crisis to buy. We buy to prevent a crisis from ever happening. The price tag of 65 million might seem steep to some, but in today's market, for a homegrown talent with his ceiling, it's actually a very strategic investment. We've seen how players like Matheus Nunes and Tijani Reijnders have integrated into the system, and the belief within the technical staff is that Anderson could have an even faster impact. He has that street footballer grit combined with elite technical training, a mix that Pep Guardiola has historically turned into gold. So, where does all of this leave us as we head into the final weeks of the season? The picture is clear. Manchester City is a club operating at the highest possible level, both on and off the pitch. We have a historic fourth consecutive FA Cup final on the horizon against Chelsea. We are locked in a ferocious battle with Arsenal for the Premier League title, sitting in second place but with the experience and the know-how to cross the finish line first. The victory against Burnley was a reminder that we can grind out results when we need to. The semi-final win over Southampton showed that our big game players like Jeremy Doku and Gianluigi Donnarumma are ready for the pressure of Wembley. And Pep's decision to give the squad 3 days of rest shows that we are managing our resources better than anyone else. We aren't just playing for today, we are preparing for tomorrow. The potential reshuffle in the summer with Bernardo Silva and John Stones might feel like the end of an era, but as we've seen today, it's actually the beginning of a new one. With targets like Elliot Anderson and the continued development of our youth like Nico O'Reilly and Sver Naipan, the future of the blue side of Manchester is in incredibly safe hands. It's an amazing time to be a City fan. The trophies are within reach, the squad is elite, and the strategy is flawless. We are chasing history, and every single one of us has a part to play in that journey. Whether it's at the Etihad, at Wembley, or following along from home, the energy around this club is undeniable. Thank you so much for sticking with us through this massive news roundup. If you haven't already, this is your final chance to hit that like button and subscribe to Man City Sentinel. Your support is what allows us to bring you these in-depth breakdowns every day. We'll be right here covering every tackle, every goal, and every transfer rumour as we march toward the end of the season. Let us know in the comments what you think about the Elliot Anderson rumours. Is he the right man for the job? We want to hear from you. This has been your Manchester City news update. Stay tuned, stay loyal, and as always, Smon City.